and welcome to the Surfing Podcast. My name is Dan Bilak. I am your host. Please be sure to go and subscribe to us on the iTunes podcast store area. On iTunes, I guess is the shorter way to say that, or the Google Play Store, or on Stitcher. We'd be much obliged. And visit our website, thesurfingpodcast.com, to like us on Facebook and join our email address. If you do so, you can win some of the things that we give away each month. Last month, we had what do you call it, a promotion, a giveaway, a campaign, an exciting thing going on where we were having new listeners or even old sign up on our website to subscribe to our email list where there's a link at the top of our page and like our Facebook page. And if they did that, they were eligible to win one of 3 pairs of Surf Ears surfing earplugs that we're giving away. These are earplugs that were developed in Sweden that allow you to hear through the earplug through a special membrane while you're wearing them. So they're still water and, windproof, but then you can hear your buddies, or you can pretend that they're not hearing or windproof. And when someone's calling you off a wave, you still snake them anyway like a jerk. But, the choice is yours, but they're very fancy, very expensive. And we gave 3 pairs away, and congratulations to our winners. Ryan Doodridge, which is, I believe, his real name, Pat O'Reilly, and John Moore. All 3 guys are getting those a set of those sent to them in the mail this week. So congratulations to all 3. And we had a caveat throughout the contest where I kept repeating, we'll only ship them to the U.S. Please only sign up to win if you're in the U.S. And Ryan is actually in Australia, or from Australia. He lives in Australia. I don't know where he's from. He could be from Mars for all I know. But he lived in Australia, and he said, hey, can I still win these? And at first we emailed him back, and I said, no, it was U.S. only. And then I waited an hour. I felt like a dick. And I was like, you know what? It's an extra. The earplugs are very small and they're very light. They're in a little case. They can't even weigh 2 ounces. I'm like, we'll just mail them to you. It'll be the postage on his earplugs will be the postage of the other 2 combined times 4. But I figured, if we're having a giveaway and we have a listener that's nice enough to sign up from Australia and listen to us from Australia because we're recorded in California, why not? So Ryan, your earplugs are on the way. Congratulations. Thanks for being a part of it. But yeah, just anyone that's entered that signs up on our email list is automatically entered for whatever giveaway we have the following month. The only rule is you can't win back-to-back ones. So I check, if we draw the names randomly, but if it's someone that's won in the last 30 days, or whatever, we have a giveaway every month or whatever, they can't have won the previous one, but you could win the next one. So stay on the list, I guess. That'd be cool. You can win multiple things, throughout the year if you're that lucky. But yeah, I've got some buddies at surf companies that try and hook up to either give away, I don't know, something that's light but cool, something that doesn't cost too much to ship. So it doesn't cost us the show an arm and a leg to send it to you, but something that you'll enjoy, whether it be, I don't know, I'll try and get some leashes or traction pads or backpacks or something in the coming months and weeks, and try and get some Surfing Podcast t-shirts made as well. So all those things in the near future. So go to our website, thesurfingpodcast.com, and sign up for our email list. The link is right at the top of every page, and there's a pop-up, which the first time you go to our page, it's kind of annoying. It asks you to like our page on Facebook. Again, it's annoying, but it's a social medium, digital medium, kind of the podcasting. The podcast is like a digital social media kind of thing that you're intaking, and it's free, so just don't be a dick. Also, there's a link on our page. You can click on it. If you've never listened to Audible, click on any of the Audible links on our website, and you can sign up and get 2 free audiobooks of your choice. Any 2 books that are on Audible, you can get them for free. I recommend the longer ones. They're 10 or 12 hours, or the great courses ones that are 30 hours, because those audiobooks are 20 or 30 bucks or more. So you get more bang for your buck, but it's absolutely free. You sign up, you download your 2 books, you do a 1-month trial, but just cancel the trial the first week if you want, or keep it like I do, because I've had Audible for years and years, and I'm on the program where you sign up, you get 2 free books a month, and I love it. I drive a lot, and I am, I'm older and married and have a 3-year-old, so I don't have time to sit down and read because I'm constantly being hit by lightsabers and helping my kid sit on the toilet because he's learning to poo on the toilet, and he doesn't push his wiener down, so then you have to go and push his wiener down. But then sometimes I do it myself, and then he just pees all over the inside of the toilet and the floor of the bathroom and himself, and sometimes on you. And it's so what I'm saying is audiobooks, you're not going to get urine on the book. The book is in your, it's loaded in your phone or whatever, and it's earplugs, so you're most likely you have a nice phone case, or your phone's somewhat water resistant. So why not sign up for Audible? Anyway, there's a link on our page to do so. What else is going on this week? Still trying to flag down some, I need some guests. Everybody's out of town. It's hard to do a podcast every week. I really want to do the show every week, but sometimes I feel this show's coming out a couple days late because we try and put them up on Tuesdays, podcasts usually come out. But today this podcast is going up Thursday because I just had a busy week and I was trying to fish up or track down guys or girls to be experts on a priority issue, talking about priority in the water, like how a lineup works and stuff like that, according to, like, I don't know, someone who's been a judge of a contest or something like that. But everybody's out of town and I couldn't get a hold of anybody. So we're going to postpone that issue or episode of the show. But I'm thinking now, maybe we have a portable recorder and portable mics. Maybe I'll go down to the north side parking lot in Huntington, or even go down to Lowers this week or next week and surf, and maybe interview some people in the parking lot about that, like how they feel about like whether priorities, who's the deepest, or whether back paddling is a bad thing or a totally legit thing you can do, and yada yada yada. Because I'd love to hear maybe regular surfers' opinions. And then around a north side, there's always some guys that are like pros or ex-pros or photo pros, and around Lowers are too. So maybe I could get like from beginner to intermediate to advanced level surfers. Again, this is very ambitious to paint that picture that I'm going to do all this, but like, what if I did? That'd be awesome. So we're shooting for that. What else? Oh, the thing I wanted to mention at the top of the show, which is sort of the top of the show. I talk very fast, so we're only like 5 or 6 minutes in, so I feel like we've covered some ground, but let's cover this. Operation Surf kicked off this week in Huntington Beach. Operation Surf, it's a, let me type up the website while I'm here speaking to you, kind people. That's the one cool thing about a podcast is you're recording it, but you're usually at your computer and you can look stuff up so you don't forget what you're going to talk about or the information. Anyway, no, Operation Surf is a thing that was started. I think it was started up like in Morro Bay. And it was a thing where the surf school started with a mission to help teach wounded military vets and heroes how to learn how to surf in order to like reduce depression, decrease PTSD symptoms, and increase self-efficiency for people that had been wounded or missing limbs or whatever. But now it's all over. They have it in Morro Bay, Santa Cruz. I'm on the website. I'm not from memory. Cocoa Beach, Florida. Their website says Cornwall, United Kingdom, Santa Cruz, like I said, Avila Beach, California, and they just opened up a chapter here in Huntington Beach, California, in Orange County, California, which is super cool. A guy named Danny Nichols, who's a friend of mine, who's a very good surfer. I think he's a Billabong team rider for years. We call him Man Child because he's just like this really stocky. He's not fat. He's just like this little like meaty, wide-shouldered dude that could like just throw down the sickest turns but also do airs. Really nice guy, and him and his buddies, he runs a pretty successful t-shirt printing company here in Orange County. But in his free time, a few years ago, he started working with the Operation Surf people and, doing teaching and being an instructor and an ambassador for them. And this week they kicked off a thing where they're having like a week of Operation Surf events. They just had a thing at the pier yesterday morning or this morning. No, yesterday morning, I think they had speeches and stuff by like some police officers and the people involved, some veterans and the guys that are running it. And then today they had a yoga thing down on the beach for the people that participate. So it's like a full inclusive, like not just surfing, but like, beach lifestyle and wellness and just mental, mental happiness kind of program that they're on. And Danny Nichols, I've known him forever. He's the nicest guy, and the guys that run this thing are really solid guys. I think Van Carraza. He's a guy that he used to run the WSA contests like a million years ago when I was a grommet, when I was in high school, up in Morro Bay. I remember doing a contest at Spooks Beach at a really cold 1 foot, like freezing cold Spooks, when I was in high school that he ran. A nice guy, and he dedicates a lot of his time to doing this. So anyway, my point of all this is that it's a cool thing that surfers are doing, because I'm really negative sometimes, and I'm always like, surfers are idiots and they don't do anything and they just leech off the system and we're all scumbags and we're selfish. But these are some unselfish, unscumbaggy surfers that actually, rip, helping people not only discover surfing but use surfing to kind of like work with some problems or some issues that they're having in their lives, which super cool. But if you're in Orange County or any of the other places I mentioned and you want to find out more about the organization, to either like donate your time, money, services, anything, or just read up about it, go to operationsurf.com. And now that I mention it and I think about it a little bit further, I'll reach out to Danny Nichols and see if he's around sometime in the coming weeks, and maybe I'll sit down and have him as an interview guest on the show and ask him how the program's going and what they need people, if they need people to donate their time, services, old surfboards, what they're looking for from people that want to help out. Because I think if you're going to do anything, if you're going to maybe you want to donate your time or give back, if you're a surfer, this is a pretty cool way to give back, because you know how cool surfing is. And, some people don't until they try it. And they're like, oh, this is awesome. I wish we would have done this, 20 years ago instead of heroin or whatever. Or they start doing it, then they start doing heroin. Either way. But, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. I highly recommend it. So it's operationsurf.com. And like I said, I'll try and get in touch with Danny and have him on an upcoming show. What else? Last episode, we had a great interview with Surfline's Dashiell Pearson, talking about the Hurley surf school thing he did with Brett Simpson coaching him. But really good episode. If you didn't listen to the previous episode, I highly recommend you go back and listen to that. Dashiell emailed me afterwards and said he'd love to be a guest on an upcoming show. So I told him, like I said, I'd love to have guests in the show. This is just, doing a surfing podcast is hard because I have other responsibilities in life. Also, when the waves get good, I might blow off recording it for a couple of days because the 2 hours I have to set up and record something for an afternoon might be the 2 hours I have to surf. So my apologies. But that being said, I'd love to have Dashiell on as maybe kind of a maybe every once a month or whenever he's available. Come on, just for a quick update on what he's working on, because I think he's a pretty interesting guy, and it's cool that he's kind of he's a member of the surf media. He's making the media that we all consume that involving surfing, which, if you read the magazines, which are not around as many as more, but the websites more often, and the curated Instagram accounts, surfing's awesome, but there's a lot of things in it that are kind of goofy. But I think Dashiell does a good job of trying to take as conscientious of an approach as he can to not making surfers look like complete idiots in his writing and his posting. So good guy. I like him. Okay, so last episode, like I said, I wanted to do a priority issue, but I ran out. I couldn't get guests signed up this week, and I ran out of time this week. Like I said, this show's going up 2 days late, so I thought I would share three. This is going to make me. If you don't think I'm a total idiot or dickhead from listening to previous shows, you probably will listen to this one and go, "Oh, this guy's a fucking moron. Fuck this guy." But that being the case, I thought I want to do an issue about lineups and priority and people paddling and snaking and how to deal with crowds. And there's been a couple articles online about it. I don't think there's any definitive one that's any good. I think if you ever surfed Rincon, up near Santa Barbara in California, it's a really good point break. You're probably aware of it. If you ever surf Rincon, California, when you walk down the little trail right before it cuts down to the cobblestones to go to the surf break, there's like this really simple sign. It's like 3 feet wide, like by 5 feet high, maybe, on these two wooden posts or wooden post or whatever it is. And it just says, hey, here's it shows a picture of the waves, and it shows like the surfer that's deepest, closest to the breaking curl has the right of way. And it has a little diagram. I don't know if it's people. It might just be a dot and another dot or person. I haven't seen it in a while. I'll try and find a picture of it and put it on the website for the show notes for this episode. But I think that's important. I think a lot of people, especially beginners, that just pick up, a wave storm or something. Another thing I complained about last episode. They grab a wave storm, take a lesson or two, and they're like, "Oh, I just surfed now." And then they just take off in front of everybody and bail their boards in front of everybody and get in the way of everybody, and are just kind of dicks. I think that I think surf etiquette is super important. So I want to do a surf etiquette / priority episode, with interviews with people, their opinions on it. But I thought to segue into that, since I didn't have any guests this week, I would just tell three embarrassing, kind of embarrassing, I think stories that make me look like kind of a dick, about surf altercations that I've had in the last week, because the last couple of weeks it's been really crowded. I complained about it like last week. I've complained about, jokingly complained about it on the Facebook and Instagram page for the show. But it's the second week of June, and in Southern California, the water's still about 60, so it's still cold enough that there are not really too many people trunking it, but it's getting more crowded. And the past couple weeks, it's been windy and small. And last week we finally got like a little bit of a south swell going, and it was just packed, and there was just people everywhere, from guys that surf good, or people that surf where I surf at the Huntington Pier a lot, to guys that I haven't seen in a long time, and people I haven't seen in a long time, I was happy to see, to kind of intermediate and below and kind of beginner people that were just posting up and palling out next to the pier, and just that's their spot, they're going to surf now, to people in the shore break, causing a plethora of problems for people trying to navigate the crisp 3 to 4.5 foot waves that were coming in this past week. But my point is, I'm terrible at surfing. I can stand up, and I can occasionally do a floater and or cut back, sometimes on the same wave, but I've been surfing a long time, since I was a little kid, but I'm in no way like an apex predator or top of the food chain kind of surfer. So I think I enjoy surfing a lot. And I think, when I surf, I usually have a limited amount of time. So I try and be smart about it for my age and my ability and my fitness level, which I try and be as fit as I can. But, some weeks, you're just lazy and you eat bad or you don't go to the gym or whatever. You hurt your back and, so it's up and down. The older you get, the more up and down I feel like your performance surfing is. So if you're young, enjoy it while you can and ride that lightning as far as you can. Cause you get older, you're like, oh, you're achy and it sucks. But my point is, I like to catch a lot of waves. So what I do is I try and be smart about it. Before I paddle out, I look and see where the waves are the best, where they're coming in the most, where I could sit, where I could probably catch waves where other people weren't. So my method, what I do a lot is, especially on surf beach breaks, I'll try and find where like the sets are coming that like are decent, or the sets that are walled but have a corner, like either on the left or the right, like that isn't completely walled. And then I'll do two things. I'll either surf the middle break, like kind of middle waves that are crappy that nobody wants as much, that aren't fighting at the main pack. Mostly at a beach break. I won't do that at lowers because I find the people that sit in the middle break at lowers super annoying and then in the way of all the guys on the outside actually catching waves. If you're under 15 years old and you're sitting in that middle pack or the inside pack at lowers, I hope all the sharks in the world bite off all your limbs and then throw them up in your throat and you choke to death in your own limbs, by the way. And you're also a terrible person, and I hope, bees sting your eyes next time you're jogging or at the supermarket, whatever. But back on task. I really feel like grabbing those middle waves is kind of a godsend sometimes, especially at beach breaks. You can surf like the middle break, or like with Huntington, the tide's a little bit higher, you can surf the inside and get some shore break whompers that are kind of like 1 or 2 turn waves, which are fun. Or my other thing is I'll sit out the back. Like further out than most of the people that are sitting there and kind of off to the side where a set comes once in a while. Because I feel like with that, when the freak sets come in, and I'm not talking like giant waves. I'm talking like if it's a 3-foot day, like the 3.5 foot or 4-foot wave that comes in. I feel like a lot of guys are sitting inside jockeying. So I feel like I'll get extra waves because I'll be paddling for set waves at least 3 times a session where there's nobody around me that could possibly catch this wave. So I'm not even like fighting with anyone. I don't feel like I'm being a wave hog or taking waves off of anybody because I'm sitting out the back by myself. But, the other side of that coin is like the more crowded it gets, the more people you have on the inside, whether like beginners or kooks or little kids paddling up the face and like getting like deer in headlights halfway up the face and then stopping, or bailing their board in some weird way, or just trying to snake you or whatever, or turn around and paddle in front of you when you're still going to catch a wave. It's a double-edged sword, but those are 2 techniques I like to use because I feel like the other one is just to be, a really, really, really good fit, excellent, apex predator surfer and just sit dead on the center of the most, consistent peak and just take off, on every wave you want or burn people. And, if you surf good, surfing's weird because surfing's kind of a meritocracy where we give leeway to like guys that surf better to catch more waves. And if they snake somebody who doesn't surf good, nobody really gets mad at them. But then the other side of that, there's a lot of paradoxes and other sides of that to the rules and guidelines of surfing as well. The other side of that, if you're familiar, is like this meritocracy isn't a pure meritocracy based on merit. It's also based on merit as interpreted by the person that's trying to say that they're the one that's higher on the food chain. What I mean is surfers will like judge, oh, I'm better than that guy, and then snake them or paddle around them or whatever. When in fact, I think all of us, especially average surfers, think we surf much better than we do, and think we surf better than most people that we see. Like, oh, that guy's a kook. Oh, that guy's style is terrible. Oh, that guy's this. And then we don't realize that we're probably just as big of a kook, surf just as bad, if not worse, have just as bad of a style, if not worse, than the person that we're judging. I don't know, maybe not 9 out of 10 times, but let's say 8.5 out of 10 times. And like we talked to Dashel from Surfline last episode, it's like all you got to do is surf somewhere like the pier or anywhere, Newport or somewhere that has the Surfline camera, and then go and look at the time you started surfing and look at that day and look at the time you got out of the water. Go home that night and scrub through the Surfline cam rewind and see yourself surfing on the waves that you remember that day and the waves that you thought you were ripping on, and then see if it looks like you were actually ripping. Because I'm going to tell you, every vertical turn is a lot more lateral than you thought it was. All the awesome spray through is not as far as imposing as you thought it was. All the cool like hand gestures and arm gestures and knee bends and back arches you did to look cool probably look stupid, and that's just a fact of life, and that's it. But I feel like if people did that once a week, like just took an honest look at how they were surfing in a session when they thought they were ripping, and maybe you were ripping, but not probably as awesome as you thought you were. Or if you were, then you fucking are you're probably like, I don't know, you probably ride for somebody. You're like pro and you're awesome. You're killing it. Then just go out there and shred, just Lance Burkhardt it up and snake everybody else who's a kook, I guess. I don't know. But I think that's the exception to the rule of many, many, many more people that are not that type of apex surfer. So coming from an average, just regular surfer person like myself, here are the three stories, the embarrassing stories of surf altercations I've had this past week or in the past 7 days. And maybe you can listen and either feel like, you've been there where I was in my position and have empathy, or feel like, oh, what a pain in the ass, or you'll think, oh, what a kook, I totally did the wrong thing. But here's what I did. Number one, about a weekend ago, I woke up. My son was, we have a 3-year-old, and I talk about him a lot because when you have a 3-year-old, it impacts a lot of your life, especially your surfing. I usually get to surf when it's bumpy, high tide, windy, and small. And when it's glassy and like medium, low tide or good, the tide's good where I live, I usually have to watch my son or, go somewhere or do a family thing, or my kid's sick or something like that. So I having a kid does cut into your surfing good waves time, but you really get good at surfing bumpy, lumpy, windy, high tide, terrible waves, and get to surf a lot of like terrible afternoons by yourself. So it's a win-win. It's a break even at best situation. But so last weekend, my son, who's young, gets up early. Sometimes he usually wakes up between 6:30 and 7, sometimes 6 o'clock. But sometimes he's just a real jerk and he wakes up like 5:30 or 5, and he'll just wake up and he's up, and you're like, dude, just go play toys, or just come on, here's a tablet, watch a cartoon. And he's just up and he wants to chit chat, and he's like, hey, let's go get donuts, or let's go do something. And you're like, God, you fucking what? I'm so tired. So I think it was last Saturday, a week ago Saturday, my son wakes up 5 a.m. and he's messing around and climbs in bed with me and my wife, and he's just up to party, and he just wants her phone. So my wife gives him her phone and puts on like the YouTube Kids channel, and I'm like, well, it's like now at this point it's like 5:30 because we've been dicking around and playing with him for like a half hour. But I'm like, I was just gonna watch him and let him be there. And I'm like, well, it's 5:30. It's the sun's up now. So I take out my phone and I turn on the Surfline app and I check the pier where I live to see what the waves look like. And it's glassy. And and it hasn't been glassy for like a month and a half. It's been like, like Catalina Eddy, like south wind every morning for like a month. It's just been miserable. It's been small and windy at like 6 a.m. It's been like I said last show, it's been glassier at like 3 p.m. a lot of the days, and it was at like 6 or 7 a.m. So it's glassy and it looks fun. The wave's probably like 1 or 2 feet, like 3 foot faces at the best. But this is before the swell that came this week came in. So this was the week before. I'm like, oh, it looks fun. And there's not that many guys. Like, I look at the cams, the south side looks better at the pier. So I'm like, oh, it's just like 10 guys out. And so for a weekend, because there's a whole morning crew at where I surf. There's like a 5:30 to 8 like crew. There's like an 8 to 10 crew. There's a 9 to 11 crew, an 11 to 1 crew, and a 1:30 to 3:30 crew, and then an afternoon crew after that, and then like a 2:30 to like 5 crew grommet crew, and then a 5 o'clock to like sunset crew. Of different guys, not like it's a gang and they all have like jackets and like stenciled, Sons of Anarchy rockers on the back of like their, little bullshit. But I'm just like, there's guys that you see in that group, and that like there's the early guys and girls that surf early and, surf those times that you're most likely to see. I usually surf the blown out crappy afternoons because I have to watch my son in the morning. I work during the morning and early afternoon, and I get to surf the late afternoon. So I have a couple buddies or guys I know that I see out that time of day. So I don't do dawn patrols too much or wake up too early to surf. Also, because on the weekdays, we have the Huntington Beach high school surf team surfs like Southside usually and runs heats. And there's like 60 kids or 70 kids probably in the surf class. So you're surfing with like, if 40 of them usually show up, it's an extra 40 people in the water between the ages of 14 and 17 and a half that just want to snake you because you're old and you suck and they rip, and they're, even though they suck, they're young, they think they rip, and they're annoying. But God bless them, because I was in that same surf class many years ago, and I was annoying too. So I try and not surf in the weekday mornings any earlier than 9 unless I have to. But this was a Saturday. So back to the story. Let's get to the action-packed conclusion of this anecdote. I'm surfing. I go down. I ride my bike down the pier to surf. I paddle out. It's like maybe a dozen and a half guys. It's all older guys. Like if I'm I'm 42. I'm probably the youngest, if not one of the younger guys in the water. Everybody's at least like 35 or 36. Most of the guys like mid 40s. Late 40s and above. A couple guys in their 50s, a couple guys in their 60s, like a 7-year-old dude's out there in a red longboard floating around at the end of the pier, with like gloves on or whatever. Water's 60. It's not freezing, but it's in the morning. So I sit there and it's small and I'm like, okay, my game plan is I'm just going to paddle and just kind of sit in the middle. It's the chit chat crew in the mornings. They like to chit chat and they're like, making fun of each other and telling stories and talking about their boners or whatever the fuck they do. Old dudes are creepy, by the way. You ever notice that? Like the 20-year-old guys are like obnoxious. Like, oh, fuck. Oh, you were on that chick last night. I was so drunk. I threw up, whatever. I live like that too. I understand that. And then like the 30-year-old or early 40-year-old guys are just like tired and beat down by life and just trying to catch a couple waves, usually keep to themselves. But the like guys that are 50 and above, just they don't shut. I mean, I talk a lot and I chit chat, but like sometimes I don't, and I try not to because I know it annoys people. And I'll try and wear my earplugs so I don't have to talk to anybody when I surf. But the 50-year-old guys and above are just like terrible, like jokes and dick jokes, and they kind of like harass each other, but like it's annoying, and they call each other names, and they're obsessed with like, they're like as obsessed with like dick, butt, and boob and fart jokes as like I was when I was a 14-year-old annoying grommet. So God bless them for being young at heart, but at the same time, it's like, shut the fuck up. It's so early. Stop it. So I'm out there and I don't want to, there's a couple clusters of dudes and I'm trying to sit off by myself and not like trying to like out paddle anybody or be fancy or whatever, even though I'm like, the one time I might be like the third fittest dude in the lineup ever in my life, in the last decade. But I'm trying to like sit by myself. I catch a couple waves and it's not great. It's a little, tide's a little high, so the waves are kind of backing off and it's glassy. So it's like doing that thing where when it's glassy and it like kind of, Huntington's been doing this lately, since Marie 2 summers ago messed up the sand basically, and then in January the big storm for 3 days kind of messed up the sand. It does this thing where the waves will kind of peak up, and this is whether it's big or small. It peaks up and looks like it's going to break, like you're almost too late to catch the wave. Then you paddle for it, then it hits like a deep spot, backs down, and then peaks up a second time. But on the second time, it kind of lunge mushes. It should be like if it was a good place where the waves barreled, it would barrel, but it kind of lunges out and then plunges down like it's a mushy late takeoff on the second attempt at taking off the wave because the first attempt the wave like back down. The waves are like that, so it's kind of annoying. It's kind of hard to catch. I'm like, oh, you got to sit a little bit inside, a little bit further in to catch the waves because I missed a couple and I'm riding a shortboard. So I do, and I'm sitting by myself. I've been out for like 15-20 minutes, caught a couple just like one turn, or floater and kick out waves, and that's about it. And I see this wave coming in, and I'm by myself. I think I start paddling for it. And it's like waist high. I'm 6'3", so it's like maybe at the best a 3-foot wave if you measured it like the complete curve from the bottom of the wave to the very top of the lip, like at 3 foot at best. Paddle for it. I'm taking off. As I'm taking off, there's this old guy, and I'm not. If you're listening to this and like under 30, I'm old to you. If you're under 25 or 20, I'm ancient to you. But like I'm 42, but this guy's got to be at least 10 years older than me. This old kind of like. Is this going to pay off? Like why I get mad at this person in a minute in the story. So he's kind of like this, to be honest, he's like this old fucking pedophile looking dude. He's this old kind of balding, like brown, black, grayish hair on the sides, kind of like just got like a pedophile. He's got pedophile face. I don't even know what that is, but I'll try and find a picture and put it in the show notes of what I interpret pedophile face to look like. He looks like a pedophile. God bless him. Wish him all the best. Paddling away. I'm taking up. As I'm like standing up, pedophile face guy is paddling, looks at me, then puts his head down and starts paddling harder. And he's like on this little red like fun board. It's probably like a 6'8" or 7'0", like kind of like what a Hayden shapes look like, but like it's basically what the Hayden shape the Hypto Crypto is. Like the Hayden shapes I always think of like a fun board from the 90s, which is like basically a mini longboard with a slightly pointed nose. He's riding like something like that. And he's paddling. So I'm taking off, and I don't like yelling hey at people because I think yelling and you or hey or whatever you're going to yell, it's an annoying way to start a wave off. You don't want to be yelling at people, but on the other side of that, I don't want some guy dropping in on me, giving me a ding, running into me, fucking up my 1 3-foot wave because the waves are pretty bad. I've told myself already at this point, like, hey, I'm going to surf like another 20 minutes and go home and take my kid downtown to go get donuts or something. I'm just going to do a quick surf, just to get wet. So I'm like, hey, and I call him off, and he like, hey, the third hey, he like still paddles, and I kind of like my ankles like go around his nose. I'm like bottom turning around this 3-foot wave, and I do a couple pumps and maybe like a turn, and then like a closeout floater because it's a little crappy wave, and it's probably not the best surfing in the world, but it's as efficient as I can be that early in the morning, and just in general at my age and crappiness level. But it was fine. It was I paddled back out, and I was like. Didn't even look at the guy. I was like, I paddled like around him, like past him, but like, 15 feet away. I didn't like paddle up. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was cool with it. So I go back out and I go sit by myself again, and I paddle for another couple waves. Like maybe catch like a little like crappy left that's like a closeout and just go straight and like, bummer. I go sit out in the back, and like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, probably 10 minutes later, same kind of wave comes in that came in before. And I feel like I'm alone. Not like jockeying with anybody. There's no one deeper than me to catch this wave. I'm like the only one that far out. I paddle for it. The fucking pedophile face guy is on the fucking shoulder again as I'm standing up. And like now I'm like, I like not just like pushing up my hands. I like stood up and I'm bottom turn. He's paddling, like kicking with his head down, and then takes off like sideways, like not straight, but like at the top of the wave at like a weird angle, but like he's riding like a fun board, like a board that's like at least 7 foot, probably 7 foot. And so it catches the wave, and he like starts to stand up as I'm like bottom turning. So our boards are like parallel because I'm like bottom turning. My board's parallel to the wave. It's not going straight down the face anymore. So he stands up. I grab both rails of his surfboard from the side to where I'm holding them. I'm bottom turning on the wave, holding this guy's nose and side rail, and like looking at him in the face, going like, "Dude, what the fuck?" And I like I'm holding him, and he's like, he doesn't jump off or kick off. He's pushing down, trying to like surf into me. And I've surfed the Huntington Pier a long time, and I moved away for 10 years, and I moved back like 3 years ago, but I've surfed there since I was a 10-year-old kid. I've seen a lot of people there. I've never seen this guy with this pedophile face in my life, and I think like, oh, I've never seen you here, fuck you, I'm a local. I think that kind of mentality and thinking is shitty, but like at the same time, I've never seen this guy, so he's not like some hardcore local. He's on some shit fun board. He's old as fuck, and like I'm old as fuck too, but he's older than fuck, can barely stand up. And he's like snaking me 2 times in a row, and I'm holding his board. So I hold his board, and then like I like lose my speed and kind of sink into the wave and like jump, push his board off of me or like throw it off as he falls back and his board launches out. And I see he's not even wearing a leash. He has to swim like 8 feet to his board. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Again, like, so I'm pissed. And I'm like, and he's like swimming, and he's like not really talking. I think he speaks English. Maybe he's retarded. Maybe he doesn't speak English. I don't know. But why the fuck is he doing this to me? So I paddle past him, like, dude, what the fuck? You just dropped into me 2 times in a row. I'm like, this is what I tell him. I go, I would never do this. I would never do that to you. I would never do that to you or anybody else. It's a shitty thing to do. You're going to fucking hurt me, hurt yourself. Excuse me. Give me a ding. Like, give yourself. Like, come on, man. What the fuck? Dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm mad. Like, cause he's like not reacting. He's like giving me only like a look like it's my fault. I'm interpreting this thing. And I'm like, he's not even saying sorry. He's like, whatever, And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm paddling back out. He starts paddling back out directly behind me. And not like he's chasing me, like paddling behind me to chase or argue with me. Like he's just paddling out, like to sit where I'm sitting. Like I get back out because it's like, the waves are small. It's like a 25-foot paddle out. I get back where I was sitting, and I'm like, dude, and I'm like, at this point, I'm like, dude, get the fuck away from me. I'm like splashing. I'm like, don't sit by me. Fuck off. And he's still like paddling towards me. And I'm like, and again, I don't, a lot of kids and children surf, or people that don't cuss or don't appreciate profanity, or Christians or whatever the fuck they are, don't appreciate this language. I know, and I try not to be a garbage mouth idiot. I'm a grown man, but at the same time, like I'm pissed because this guy's like snaking me and then like paddling up to like post up and sit next to me. So I'm like splashing water, like, dude, you fucking God, you're fucking retarded. And then I look, and like all the old guys are looking at me, and I'm like, actually, I take that back because that's a dig against retarded people. You're worse than retarded. Fuck you. Like, oh, you're just a fucking rude kook. Get out of here. And I'm like pissed, but I'm like, that's about as far as I'm going to take it. I mean, this guy, I don't know what his deal is. If he's maybe hard of hearing, maybe just weird, maybe whatever. Maybe he's dumb, or maybe he's like plain dumb to like fuck with people, or he's trolling me in real life or whatever. I don't know. But I get mad. I'm like, oh, this is just fucking not worth it. Like, and I just paddle. I paddle like around and like 30 feet away and go sit over there where like, because I don't feel like, I think fighting in the water is stupid. And I think like fighting other people in general, like like fighting solves anything. Like I have a problem with you, you have a problem with me. Whoever hits the other person in the head or body more till the other person wants to stop is more right. That doesn't make any sense. It's 2 + 2 is 4. It's not 2 + 2. And then I punch the equal sign until 7 equals 2 + 2. Like, I kind of feel like that, but at the same time, I'm a dickhead human being that's fallible and has, the same kind of anger and idiotic things going through their mind and their body as anybody else. We're basically animals that can do math and read sometimes. So and drive cars. But I think you can teach like a monkey to drive a car. So maybe we're not even that. But so I'm yelling at the guy in a paddle, and I'm just pissed. And then like I don't do the thing. I just keep to myself. I don't look to other people to like get attention or like make eye contact. Like, oh, can you believe this guy? Because I don't know. I don't care if this guy has friends out there or if everybody hates him like I do. I'm just pissed for myself, and I just wanted to catch a couple waves, and that's just ruined my morning. So I paddle over. I wait like another 10 or 15 minutes till there's a lull, of course. I just got to sit there forever. And then I get a small right. I do a couple, like 2 shitty turns and a floater. And I'm like, that's enough. I'm going in. Because I just don't want to like have another interaction with this guy. I don't want to yell at somebody. I don't want to be like some, the dickhead, hothead moron out there. But like I just happens once in a while. And I feel like at the same time, once is okay. Second time they say sorry, but the second time, like in a row, looking you in the face while like riding into you, like, yeah, you can. I feel like you kind of have an obligation to speak up if it's especially if your home break. And I don't mean that as a local thing. I don't mean that like, yo, bro, you don't live here, don't surf here. I mean that as like, fuck, like have respect for the place you're surfing to where like, I would never do that anywhere else in the world that I've ever surfed or would ever surf, let alone, but I wouldn't do that where I live. I'd never take off on somebody, whether they were like a pro or a guy that was like dropping on like a wave storm. Would never take off on someone 2 times in a row and then look them in the face and pull that, no matter how good or bad they surfed or no matter how good or bad I thought I surfed. So I go in, and that's it. And then that was like a little over a week ago. So then the other morning, like maybe like early last week, same thing. I wake up early. My son's up early. It's a few days later, and it's again. I go down. The waves are like maybe 3 to 3.5 foot this day, and it's a morning, but it's you know what? It's not. I took my son to school, and I had a work phone call and a work call-in meeting I had to do that I didn't have to do. So it was supposed to be at 10, and it got canceled. So I went surfing at like 10 a.m. on like a Tuesday or whatever. So I'm like, oh, killer! Surf class is over. It's a weekday. The waves are small, but I look at the cam. It's glassy. I go down to surf. And I look, and I get down there, and it didn't look that bad in the cam. It's packed. It's like for 10 o'clock on a Tuesday and like a 3.5 foot at best day, there's like 40 dudes on Southside like posted up, and then more down the beach. But I'm just talking between like the first lifeguard tower or 2. There's like 40 dudes. I'm like, oh Jesus, this is gonna suck. So I'm paddling out next to the pier. My hair is still completely dry, and I'm like, oh, there's like a pack, and I recognize some guys I know, and some younger guys at Rip, and some older guys at Surf Good, and just general people I've seen before. And some Groms, on the inside. So I paddle out and I sit out there for like 5 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, if a set comes, all these guys have been waiting, they're posted up. I'm going to have to like paddle battle everybody. And that's going to be annoying. And some of these guys, surf a lot better than me. So I don't want to try and take waves off of guys that rip. Like here's my plan. My plan is I'm going to paddle in because I see some middle waves coming in that nobody's catching. So I paddle in, and like while I'm doing this, I see like this really tiny, like not tiny, but like medium size, like 3 foot, just barely 3 foot left come in. I'm regular foot, so it's backside, and my back is hurting. The last week and a half, my back has been hurting. I've been doing stretches that I found online, which totally helped. But I hadn't been stretching at that point, so my back is a little stiff and it hurts. I'm like, oh God, my backside sucks. Because arcing up back to look at the wave to like do a turn into it, like kind of hurts more than it does front side, which is an old man problem to have. Trust me, I know. But I catch this little left. I start paddling for it. And there's no one around me. And it's like, again, that thing at Huntington right now, it's like, especially in the higher tide in the morning, the waves will peak up, and then you can almost catch them, and then they drop down, and they'll peak up again. But I'm luckily on the part where it's peaked up, dropped, and then peaking up for the second time, so I'm going to catch this wave. Start paddling for it. I'm going to catch it for sure. Out of nowhere, but out to my left, there's this kid on the inside who like turns around and makes a beeline. He's like 10 feet to my left. He makes a beeline to paddle like in front of me, like paddle into me, like paddle me off the wave to cut me off. And I'm just like, and I'm thinking, I don't say that. I'm thinking, I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm already like, the wave has caught me and I'm already paddling. So as I'm paddling, like mid stroke to my left hand, his board is in front of me. And like one more stroke, he's going to be like in front of me. I'm not going to catch his wave. I'm going to run in the back of him if I wanted to. And I don't want to do that. I grab the nose of his board, and just in the rhythm of my stroke, paddling for the wave, I do my left hand stroke and push his nose underwater, stroke my right hand. I've got the wave. I stand up. I go left. I fucked that kid. I was not trying. I wasn't paddle battling him. I wasn't paddling around him. It wasn't a good wave. It was a wave no one I thought wanted. But I'm not going to get like paddled off a wave, my first wave, by some kid that like paddled at me to keep me out. Like, fuck that. So paddle, and then I know it's a left because I'm in my head, like after telling the story, I'm like, oh, maybe it was right. It was a left because I caught that wave. Some dude, some hippie guy on like some hippie fun shape board turned around behind me and took off later than me when I was standing up, because I looked back to see what was going on and make sure that kid didn't try and like drop in behind me or pull any shit. And the hippie guy with like a beard, is a regular foot or a goofy foot guy, is dropping in front side behind me, and I look back and I wave back, oh sorry, and he goes, no dude, go, and he waves me on, but like the wave's like a crap wave. It's like half a backside cut back, and it's like the wave dies. So I'm like, oh, that was annoying. So I paddle back out. I'm not really thinking anything of it. I'm not really pissed at that kid. I was more like didn't want to run him over. I'm like, I'm a 6'3", 200-pound large human being who's not as nearly as like, agile or adroit as you'd want to be like getting in front of while they're taking off on a 3-foot or 2-foot wave. So I paddle back out. And I paddle through back. I'm just like, fuck, I'm not going to surf the middle break. There's dickhead kids trying to drop in on you. I'll go sit out the back and do my plan of sitting out the back and wait for a set wave that nobody else wants or doesn't. I'm farther out where no one else can catch. As I paddle out, this fucking kid paddles up me and it's like, fuck you, man. You fucking, like, starts cussing me out. And I had earplugs in. And I was like, dude, don't ever paddle in front of me like that again. I swear to God. He's like, fuck you. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you one more time. Don't ever fucking paddle in front of me like that again, or else you're going to have a huge problem. And I'm pissed. And I'm looking at this kid. It's like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. And this kid, I've seen this kid out before. He surfs okay. He doesn't surf great. He doesn't have stickers on his board. So he's not one of the sponsored kids that's in town for the fucking, the Rip Curl Grom Search, which was a weekend coming up for that. Cause there was a bunch of kids from all over the country and actually world, like Costa Rica and stuff in town for that. But this kid's just a regular little shit fucking, kid that surfs up here. And he's like, honestly, the kid could be like, he could be 16 or 17, or he could be 19. But he's like, probably, I'm assuming he's probably 18 if he's surfing at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday and there's no fucking holiday or whatever. And it's probably some shithead kid going to OCC or Golden West College until he transfers and goes somewhere else, or living at home, just surfing in the mornings. Like, I mean, I did the same fucking thing. So I get it. But at the same time, fuck off. So he's like, fuck you, and again, fuck you again. And that's it. I go and I take my earplugs out and put them in the neck of my wetsuit. Because if I'm going to yell and scream at somebody, I want to have as perfect a hearing as I can. And, I want to be able to interpret what they're saying clearly so I can formulate my, appropriate response. So like, you fucking, I'm like, dude, motherfucker. And that's it. I got the earplugs out and there's a bunch of profanity coming. So I'm like, motherfucker, you paddled the fuck in front of me and now you're cussing me out. Get fucked. And he's like, I mean, again, not the most articulate or fancy way to be. And I know that, but here's the deal with this kind of drop-in thing. Like, I don't want to, like, the main thing about getting dropped in on or like doing altercations with people in the water is like, I don't want to hurt anyone and I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to hurt anyone's surfboard and I don't want anyone to hurt my surfboard. So I don't want to like have this kid paddle in front of me and then like I run him over and then our boards get wrapped around each other and I get a ding or like whatever. And there's like just a million dramatic things that can happen. But also I just want to get fucked with. I don't want to get like picked on and bullied by some fucking shit kid, some fucking 10 a.m. fucking Tuesday morning junior college fucking dropout. So fuck him. So I'm like, dude, fuck you. I'm like, if you fucking do that again, I'll break every fin off your goddamn surfboard to be riding a skimboard. He's like, fuck you. And then he's like saying like getting like trying to threaten me, like, oh fuck you up, and that's when I lose it. Because this guy, if I'm 6'3", 200, I don't know. It's hard to tell how tall people are in the water, and I don't look that tall or fat in the water, I guess. But this guy's definitely not my size, and he's definitely probably half my age. And I'm like, fucking, that's it. So I do what I think is the greatest thing you can do to somebody that's telling them they're going to beat you up and they can't. I charge at him. I just fucking start pounding. I'm like, all right, this is it. You're going to fucking die. And he like his face turns white. He's like, ah. And then like he has a friend who's definitely a little bit older, probably in his early 20s, paddle up and like get between us. He's like, whoa. Because the secret is, I would never hit a kid, obviously, because I'm not a fucking crazy person, but I'd never hit another person in the water. But I'm not above like charging at that motherfucker and making them think that I'm going to fucking drown them. I'm for sure not, because my whole plan, which worked perfectly, paddle up and got like 6 inches from his face right next to him, and that was it. And, like, he shit his pants and was freaking out, and then his friend paddled up, and I'm like, listen, your friend, I told the guy, goes like, fuck you, you fucking dick, and like his friend's like, fuck you, you fucking dick, and I'm like, whatever. I'm like, listen, your friend paddled in front of me, and then paddle up and told me, fuck you, and started shit with me and then threatened me. Fuck that. I will fucking kill him. And then the guy's like, fuck you, man. I'm like, dude, I don't know who the fuck you are. And I respect you for like sticking up for your friend or whatever, but you obviously didn't see what happened. The guy paddled like directly in front of me. I pushed his nose out of the way and took off in the wave because I'm not going to let that happen. And now he's like telling me to get fucked and then like basically making like he's going to kick my ass. No, I'm like, I'll kick both your asses at the same time right now. You can both go in and call your dads. I'll fight those motherfuckers on the beach or in the parking lot. I give 0 fucks right now. Fuck you. Again, a million fucks. I apologize, but I was super pissed. And I've been I've been trying to be super mellow lately. I've had a lot of stuff at work and, family stuff going on. And I'm just like, oh, surfing's the one thing I really like to do that's mellow. And like it's not aggressive or like competitive at all, especially not for me. I'm old as fuck and I'm mediocre at best. I'm not like kidding myself about anything. I just don't want to get fucked with when I'm trying to catch a wave, goddamn shitty 3-foot wave on a Tuesday early fucking late morning, early afternoon. So then the guy is like the older guy is like a buddy. He's like, oh, you're an asshole. I'm like, I totally fucking am. I'm an asshole. So tell your friend to leave me alone. And then I paddle away. And then the kid behind his friend starts splashing and saying, fuck you. Yeah, paddle away, you pussy or whatever. And then I fucking lose it. And I bolt at him again. And the kid goes and paddles and hides behind his friend. I get in both their faces. I'm like, listen, if you say another fucking thing, I will break off all the fins in your surfboard and I will shove them up your fucking ass. I go, I'm like, you'll be the fucking Brad Domke of Southside, you motherfucker, because you'll be riding a Victoria skimboard as far as fucking, logistics are concerned. Fuck you and fuck you. And I paddle off. And then that was it. And then the kids shut up. And then all the older guys came up to me and were like, yeah, man, fuck that kid. The kid sucks. And then like all the younger kids like looked at me like I had fucking, I don't know, like dressed up like Hitler and dropped a bunch of N-bombs at their prom. I felt terrible on a lot of levels. But at the same time, I feel like I was justified. I feel like I don't know what else to do. Like I said, I really don't condone violence or hitting anybody or punching anyone on or off land, especially not over a fucking wave. That's the dumbest shit in the world. But I also, in that same thought, don't condone people, fucking with other surfers, excuse me, and just being little shits. And and it was funny, this older guy, Mike, who's a longboarder guy, he's got to be in his 60s because he's laughing. He's like, I always talk about my kid, and he's like, all my kids are in their 30s. Like, so this Mike guy's been around forever, surfs up here all the time, really nice guy. And he's like, oh man, these kids, he's like, I feel it's like those kids like 15 to 17 because they have and I said it, I'm like, the fucking 15 to 17-year-old force field. And I'm like, absolutely. And it is. When I was a grommet under the age of 18, I would fuck with guys and drop in on them. I'm like, fuck you, old man. And then like, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm like, I'm not 18. You'll go to jail, which is a totally dickhead, punky thing to do. But at the same time, growing up in the 90s, I definitely got fucking dunked. I had a guy one time, a local guy, I forget his name. He's friends with like some of the older guys that I know now, but like he was probably 30 when I was like 16. He paddled up and fucking knocked me off my board and took a bite out of the rail, and then spit it at me, which I thought I was mad at the time, but now I look back at it, hilarious, and kudos to that man. That man is a hero, and he was in the right because I was a dick. I think I burned him like twice, and he told me to stop it and told him to fuck off. And I was like, again, if I'm not an exceptional surfer now, I was not an exceptional surfer in my teens by any stretch. All my friends were very good at surfing. I was like the tall, gangly, odd duckling out that just poor motor skills, coordination, bad style, everything you could have bad in surfing. I had. I just liked to do it a lot, and I was obnoxious. So. And I feel I do get the dramatic irony of my life, of the situation of where like I was a dickhead kid and now dickhead kids are harassing me. I get it. I understand, universe. I get that I'm not perfect, but anyway, I felt like vindicated, like yelling at the kid, and even though it probably wasn't the best or most mature thing to do, and if you tell I told my neighbor who was like a non-surfer that story that afternoon. He's like, "Wow, you're like a surf bully. Wow, you're just picking on kids." I'm like, "No, I'm not picking on kids. This kid's fucking with me." And if you let one kid, and the other thing is, this is totally true. If you let one of those kids, especially at the pier, snake you like that, and all the other kids see it, you will get snaked and dropped in on all day long. One by kids blatantly telling you sorry, or like other by kids telling you to fuck off, or a third by kids saying, "Oh, I didn't see you," but they totally saw you, and they're like, "Fuck you," because you've lost your status in the lineup, and you gotta defend your sad little shit, bottom of the rung spot as much as you can. I feel no, probably not. But anyway, I yelled at a kid who was definitely at least 18, but probably not much older. So again, I don't want to fight another 40-year-old guy, let alone 18-year-old. But I'm not above yelling and cussing at one. So I don't know. It probably makes me a total dickhead and douchebag, but that's how I am. I feel like that's just part of surfing, and it shouldn't be, and we should all be nicer and more respectful to each other, but we're not always. So this is a third story to wrap up the embarrassing altercations in the surf. A couple days ago, surfing the pier, there was waves. It was like 3 to 4 foot, and this is like American continental like wave size, like 3 to 4 foot faces measured from like the top to the very bottom of the wave, including the curve of the face. This is not like a Hawaiian, like, oh, it's 4 foot, but it's like, it's like a 9 foot face wave. No, it's like a 3 to 4 foot face wave, a couple 5.5 foot, maybe 6 foot on the biggest set of the day at like peak low tide, coming in right before the tide pushed around all the waves later in the day. But I'm surfing, and it's not that crowded. It's a little bit, I've been out for a little bit. It's an afternoon, but it's been glassy the last couple afternoons. Not today, but like two days ago, it was glassy like 4 afternoons in a row. So I surfed 4 afternoons in a row. like 2 o'clock. And this is like 2:30, 3 o'clock, maybe through 3, because I'd been out for an hour. And there's this kid. I say kid because I'm old, but this guy, probably in his mid to late 20s, surfs a pier a lot. He's friends with a lot of guys that I know that I grew up with that are older, but like he's friends like surf bros with them. But I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years, so I miss like a group of kids, like probably from like 20 to 30. That I don't know that well, and then the younger ones I obviously don't know because I'm not a weirdo that hangs out like 15-year-olds. But like the group of guys who surf the pier, they're like 20 to 30. I don't know that well because they were grommets when I was up in LA, so I'd surf down in Huntington a few times a month at best. So I'm busy surfing like the crap Venice Breakwall and fucking El Porto because I live in Los Angeles, but. I know of them, and I've lived back in Huntington for about 3 years, so I know most of them by sight, and I've chit-chatted with some and gotten to know some, and then remembered a couple from when I was, young, when they were younger, from when I was, 10 or 15 years ago. Anyway, this guy surfs a pier. He's a nice guy. He surfs a pier, surfs pretty good, but he gets a little like aggressive, and he'll like get in fights and yell at people and stuff like that, which I kind of like because I wish there were more of those guys that would like. In the younger guys that surf well that kind of patrolled the lineup and yelled at people for being dickheads. So I wasn't when my ancient fucking ass didn't have to do it. And by the way, I don't really think that I have to do it. I shouldn't do it, and it's a bad habit and it's a dumb thing. And it'll probably get me beat up by like an 18-and-a-half-year-old like one day, like some Muay Thai champion. Probably beat the shit out of me, and I'll probably totally deserve it. But at the same time, hey, if he's burning me on a 2.5-foot wave, I'll still feel right that I was in the right for speaking up. Anyway, a couple years ago, I moved back to Huntington. I've been back for a year. It was one day in the fall when the waves were like head high. Sorry, I just painted the picture. I was surfing a few days ago, whatever. It was like 3 to 4 foot, like 5 foot sets. But it flashed back. Sorry, bad way to tell a story. Flashback a couple years ago. I've been living here for a year. Moved back. It was like a 6 foot offshore day. We never get those in Orange County or Huntington, let alone Huntington's always terrible. But it's like a offshore barreling day, but it's like Huntington, so it was like 6 foot. So it was walled. You could take off and travel and stuff, but very few waves were like super makeable or great, whatever. Surfing down the beach on Northside. And this is painting the context for the story that's going to take place right now, but the third embarrassing story. Surfing down the beach in Northside, because the waves are kind of like the same all over. Right next to the pier was kind of a clusterfuck, like everybody was out. It's probably like a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. It was a weekend swell, so it was extra crowded. I'm like down the beach a little bit, in front of like the Tower 6 towards the apartments, and there's this Japanese guy, and he fucking paddles around me for a wave that's coming in, takes off and goes over the falls. And I'm like, fuck. And I don't even say anything. I don't look at him. I'm just like, I don't care. Like 5 minutes later, a wave comes in. Motherfucker jockeys me, paddles around me, takes off deeper than me again, and then goes over the falls. And I'm like, fuck this guy. Like, I just want to catch a wave, not trying to have a fucking paddle battle. And when in Japanese, I don't mean like Japanese, like, oh, he's Japanese looking like, I mean, he was like Japanese, like he's speaking Japanese to his friend like 10 minutes before that. He's riding some weird, like, probably riding like America or a new stamps or something like that, but like with Japanese brand stickers on his board. But he's not pro because he's fucking falling and going to the falls and like the easiest to catch waves that you can catch at Huntington. So the third time comes around and I see this guy and he's like 30 feet deeper than me on this set. And like I said, it's lined up and walled and it's a little bit offshore. So it's like, no matter how deep he is, like you can catch 3 people are going to take off in this wave at the same time at some point across this wave. But I'm like maybe 20, not 30, maybe 20 feet from this guy. So I'm deep enough where if I took off straight, he would probably I would be cutting him off. But I feel like I'm going to take off at an angle and just fucking outrace this guy and just try and pull in. Fuck this guy. I fucking hate him. And I do feel a little like happy that I'm burning him because he just burned me twice and paddled around me. But so I'm being kind of shitty, but not fully shitty. So I paddled, this guy's paddling, gonna go over the falls. He foam balls. He's like in the lip before the lip even forms and he's going over. But then as I'm dropping in, I look back one more time and the guy that had mentioned that surfs the pier, the guy in his mid 20s or whatever, the nice guy that surfs the pier is dropping in like the wave. Like I've caught it. I'm further down the line, but it broke where I was kind of where I could get into it earlier, but we're both taking off at the same time. And I'm like, I can see like the next 50 or 60 feet in front of me are getting ready to this wall. So it's like I could kick out immediately or pull through the face, but then my board's gonna go over the falls. But like, I'm thinking like, fuck, I'm already in this. The guy behind me is probably gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna pull in and just try and like ride the close out all the way through so we won't end up next to each other and blah, 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 blah. And I do that. I take the wave and I don't kick out. And I do like 2 pumps and I pull into this like shitty barrel and I'm, gigantic 6'3" oafish idiot. So I probably have to tuck myself down in like the most awkward butt squatty, grossest stance ever. Pull in a closeout, whatever. I come up, the guy's behind me, like 10 or 15 feet next to me, like, what the fuck? You fucking burned me. And I can't fucking believe that. Fuck you. And, he uses a line that stings me so bad because he's absolutely right. And he looks at me and he goes, dude, and it's like I said to that guy in the first anecdote in the red board, the pedophile face guy. He goes, dude, I'd never fucking do that to you. So now, I mean, the tables have turned. I know what it's like to be the pedophile face guy that burns you and is an idiot, you know, but I wasn't burning him. I was like, listen, dude, I didn't see him. I saw the Japanese guy and I felt like he doesn't really burn people, this kid that's mad at me. So I'm like, I didn't even factor him into the equation. Then I guess he must have saw the Japanese guy go over the falls and like spun around and went the last minute, but I was in no way trying to burn him. But he's like so mad and he's screaming at me and like, fuck you. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. There was a guy behind you who had burned, but you know, I can't tell the story of like, well, he'd paddle around me twice. And like, I just sound like an idiot in general all the time in my life, but trying to break the story down to him, I sound even more like an idiot. So he's like, fuck you. So I try and like paddle back out. And like, I'm like trying to talk to him or paddle. He's like, no, fuck you, fuck off. And he won't talk to me. And then, you know, he surfs the pier all the time and I surf the pier all the time. So then for like the next 6 months, I see him like at least 2 or 3 times a week out of the pier. And it sucks because at that time he was surfing the afternoons a lot. And that's when I was surfing the crappy afternoons a lot. So it'd be like, it wouldn't be that crowded, but I'd see him every time. And, you know, the guy's mad at me, won't talk to me. And I don't want to paddle up and kiss his ass. And I also don't want to annoy him. So I just fucking give the guy his space for like 6 months. Every time I saw him multiple times a week, I just feel like the biggest piece of shit and just remember back that day when I snaked him and what a dick I was for doing that and how I just should have kicked out immediately just out of respect. It was a dick thing to do to a guy that's like from here that like really takes surfing the pier, takes his surfing seriously and enjoys surfing. And yeah, so fucking, I felt like a dick for 6 months. And then like for the next year after that, I kind of resented the guy. Like, fuck you, man. You're still mad about that? Because I did catch kind of like, I feel like I was catching like a dirty look or got an icy shoulder from him from time to time, which again, could all just be in my head because I'm an idiot. But that's like fucking, so 6 months of hating myself, then a year plus extra of like resentment towards the guy. Like, well, that guy's a dick for holding a grudge, you know, or not, whatever. Flash forward to a couple days ago. The waves aren't that crowded. A set comes in. It's like a head high, a little bit overhead set. Maybe head high. Let's not say overhead. Let's not get crazy. It's like a head high set coming in, and it's a shoulder high day. So I'm paddling. I'm further out, and I'm bolting because there's a guy closer to the peak, deeper, but I don't know if he's a goober that's not going to get the wave. And as I'm paddling, I see who it is. This guy that I know who actually surfs pretty good. Like, and he's in position. I'm like, fuck, he's going to get this wave. But I keep sprinting because out of the corner of my eye, I see someone like further in, you know, behind me, you know, in more, maybe like 20 feet. But I'm like, fuck this. If there's a second wave, and it's real, the day's been like 1 wave sets, but there was like a 2 wave set earlier. So I'm like, fuck, if there's a second or third wave, I paddle out enough, maybe I can catch a good wave. And I was probably, maybe I've been out for been out for a couple hours. So like, oh, I can get a good wave in. Because I think that's what I was thinking. But I paddle, so I start sprinting and I get to the top of the wave. And of course, behind it, there's nothing. It's just flat ocean. And then I turn and I look, and it's that guy that I had snaked 2 years ago. He's like 10 feet behind me now. And he looks at me, he's like, what the fuck, man? You fucking trying to paddle battle me and fucking weasel waves off me? Just fucking like, what is fucking figures? You're such a fucking dick. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, hey, stop. And I say his name, and I say his name in the show because I don't want to fucking call out this guy because he's the hero in both instances of the story, and I'm a dickhead, so I'm just don't feel like annoying him by saying his name in the story. But I go, whoa, listen, man, I fucking stop. I go, 2 years ago, I fucking snaked you by accident, and you fucking got mad at me and made a big deal, and I felt like shit for 2 years about it. I go, I would never fucking snake you. I would never try and out paddle you. I go, do you ever fucking notice that whenever you're out, I always give you tons of space, and if you're ever by me paddling for a wave, I always stop paddling? I'm like, dude, you have lifetime pole position. I felt so fucking bad about that I make a mental and fucking, you know, note every time I see you not to fucking fuck with your waves at all, because I felt like such a dickhead, and you're a nice guy, everybody likes you, you surf good, and I felt like a fucking the biggest cunt, okay? And then the guy's like, oh, okay. And then he pauses a bit and he looks at me and he's like, it's been really fucking crowded lately, right? And I'm like, yeah, it totally fucking has. And I chit-chat for him for like 20 seconds, and I paddle away and give him his space again. But it felt so good to lift that burden off my shoulders, to like have this guy that was mad at me for 2 years, that I was even ended up resenting because he was mad at me for something that I had done that was stupid, and then like talked about it, and in 10 seconds, like, oh great, now I can see this guy, and I'm not going to be an idiot and like try and paddle around and like sit up next to this guy and bug him and chat his ear off when I surf, but it'll be nice to be like, I can paddle by him, like nod and like give him like, hey, what's up? And, oh, it's, you know, waves are good today. No, it's crowded today. Like, you know, like one sentence conversation and move the fuck on, versus like feeling like a dickhead every time I see the guy. So that was the story. So there was 2 stories where I'm obviously the dickhead and no resolution except that there was just anger and resentment felt. Third story, I'm the dickhead, but then the second half of that story, redemption, where I'm undickheading myself sort of and apologizing to this guy and letting him know that I felt bad about snaking him. So draw your own conclusions. I think the conclusion on my part is that I'm fucking an idiot, and I surf like, I don't know, so terribly, and should just probably just surf Golden West or Bolsa by myself until a shark eats me, and not try and surf popular areas like the pier. It's probably just hanging all up, but you do what you do. That being said, that's going to do it for this episode of the Surfing Podcast. If you like us, please go on iTunes, give us a positive 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and the Google Play Store and Stitcher, which would be cool. If you have any comments, questions, whatever, hit us up. Facebook.com/The Surfing Podcast or Instagram/The Surfing Podcast, or just go to thesurfingpodcast.com, which is the easiest. Like our Facebook page and join our email list to sign up for any future giveaways that we'll have. We'll probably have one later this month where you can win free crap. And it's usually surf related crap, and it's not crap. It's usually surf related accessories and cool stuff that you will actually want. Again, my name is Dan Bialik. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, I hope you catch a lot of waves. Hope you have fun surfing. I hope you don't yell at other people or cause other people to yell at you, and just have a genuinely enjoyable time on this planet until, we all die and the sun burns out and it turns cold into like some black supernova thing. And, then starts all over again billions of years later. Thanks for listening. Bye.